Welcome to our Vault Shorts. These are shorter episodes highlighting programs and resources here in our Billings community.
And joining us today to talk about CPTED is Dan Brooks with the Billings Chamber of Commerce and Joe Stout with Downtown Billings. So welcome, guys. We're excited to have you.
Thanks for having us.
The following is a Big Sky Economic Development production.
It's Mars B.
And Cavo.
And this is The Vault at 201 North Broadway.
A business podcast.
Where we bring you entrepreneurs, small business owners, and community leaders of Montana.
To share their stories, expertise, industry insights, and strategies.
And we are sharing them all with you every single week.
You don't want to miss this.
Learn how to better start, manage, and grow your business.
And your leadership style.
Tangible takeaways to save you time and improve whatever it is that you're working on.
You're listening to The Vault.
Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting The Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development provides leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, and community development. If you are starting a business, growing or expanding your business, diversifying your customer base, or maybe you're looking for business trainings to attend to continue to learn and grow, they're excited and here to help. Even if you're thinking of relocating your company into Billings, they're a resource for you. BSED also provides resources for community development initiatives by planning, partnering, and managing projects and administering grants for redevelopment and placemaking. Their workforce development program brings together industry and education partners to anticipate and respond to community workforce needs. And they provide talent attraction and retention resources for your business to use under the community brand Better Off in Billings. BSED's Rock 31 program is focused on helping startups thrive. And in their location in downtown Billings, they have 2 floors dedicated to co-working and additional spaces throughout their building open to the community to host their meetings, events, and trainings. Visit bigsky.economicdevelopment.org. Again, that's bigsky.economicdevelopment.org, or follow them on Facebook and LinkedIn.
What resources, Dan?
Here, resources, community resources. So welcome to The Vault. Just to kick it off and start us out, would each of you mind telling us what you do at your organizations?
Yeah, so I do...
And it's Dan talking.
This is Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
I do our business advocacy and lobbying at the Billings Chamber of Commerce. So I get to work with our local, state, and federal elected officials on policy issues important to business. In addition to that, and the reason why we're here is because I helped start, along with Joe, our community's CPTED program, Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design, which is a really unique thing for chambers and downtown organizations. In fact, we were just at the National CPTED Association conference earlier this year and had kind of thrown it out to the entire group. What other chambers out there do a program like ours? And really, there's nobody else that has anything quite like we do.
No.
So,
where was this conference at?
Don't tell them. That'll be February. We don't tell them where we went in
Was
February.
it somewhere warm like Florida?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Tampa.
It was
actually.
exactly
How
Florida.
convenient.
Exactly Florida.
I know. I saw it on someone's social media.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
So, Joe, what do you do?
Well, I'm the director of the Business Improvement District with Downtown Billings, and that encompasses a whole bunch of stuff, not the least of which is CPTED. But also we, put on events, and I have a crew that cruises around downtown and cleans up, and we take care of graffiti and stuff.
You guys
They're
do
the
a lot of
purple
work.
people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I don't know
We
if you
just
like
do
to
a
be called
couple
the purple
things,
people,
but a lot
we're
of things.
the Downtown Billings Street team now.
Oh,
It's really official.
You can call us
Sorry.
whatever you want. We can't get away from it.
you keep mentioning this thing, CPTED.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what does that stand for? What does it do?
Oh,
Yes.
Man. Tough questions.
So CPTED stands
Dan
for...
tossed it in earlier, just nonchalant.
I expect everybody to know at this point.
Yeah.
CPTED is crime prevention through environmental design. It is kind of a new way to think about your environment and the space around you, really with an eye for how the environment affects how people behave in your spaces. So utilizing the principles of CPTED, you can make some very small incremental changes in the environment to affect how people behave. And I suppose we can probably get into those in a little bit here, but I do just want to talk kind of a little bit about definition of CPTED, according to the National Institute of Crime Prevention, which is the overarching body that does the training, works with large organizations, law enforcement departments, cities, schools to bring CPTED to communities to help improve their safety. But they define it as the effective design and use of our built environment that can have an impact on the incidence and fear of crime. So kind of a two-part, both the perception of how people feel in your spaces, and there are actual measurable impacts by implementing CPTED. Studies have shown that when people implement a multi-component or utilizing more than one of the principles of CPTED, they have a measurable reduction in robberies in an area. Additionally, when researchers talk to criminals who have committed certain crimes that actually they get to choose where and when they would like to commit them, they actually pay attention to these tiny little details. One that I like to cite is a criminal who was interviewed who said that it's the little signs welcoming people into a neighborhood that whenever he sees those, it's an automatic trigger for him to cancel his appointment robbery. So one would never think that you've got a nice, like, welcome to our neighborhood sign.
His appointment robbery, that's funny.
Right? It's not going to stop all crime.
I cannot miss this appointment.
Right?
To rob.
It's not going to stop all crime, but in some instances, it does stop crime.
It does deter, yeah.
Right? So we're really trying to think about that. How can we make these modest, small changes to the environment to have a big impact on safety?
And how did the two of you, like, what prompted the two of you to become, because you get certified for this, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, like, what prompted all of that for DBA and the chamber?
Well, we had kind of had,
besides going to fun locations.
we just wanted to get away from our bosses.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we had just kind of an outpouring of support and concern from our businesses, both with DBA and the Billings Chamber, saying, hey, we need to do more about the crime that's going on in Billings. And this was 2019, 2020. And so we had kind of put our heads together, both organizations, thinking, what can we do? And we thought about a sort of two-pronged approach. One, let's work with our local government and voters to pass some mill levies, increase those resources for our public safety personnel in Billings. But let's also figure out, how do we work with and empower our businesses to make positive changes for themselves on their own properties. And we had found this program, CPTED, new to us, but certainly not new around the country and in other locations, that we could go and get this training, and then we could start bringing that concept to our businesses and property owners to help them make positive changes on their properties.
And, in the beginning, we weren't real sure what it would offer, what we could, bring back from it. But we both went to our initial training separately. Okay. And I went to Bellingham, which was really nice too. But
how nice.
I found myself absolutely, engrossed by it. Like on the first day of training, we had a really excellent trainer too, but it's fascinating stuff. And, some of it's seems like common sense, but it all comes together into kind of one big package that really can make a difference, and it's really interesting. And
so you guys offer this to businesses in the community. So you went to the training, you come back, and how do you do an assessment? Because it does seem like common sense, right? I think we had it done, but maybe it's just someone taking the time to do the assessment. So walk us through what the assessment's like.
Yeah, so for those property owners that would like us to come out to their property and have this assessment done, we come out. We want to usually talk with either the owner or facilities manager or a COO or somebody who's kind of really in charge of operations, and just kind of get a feel for what their main concerns are on the property. And we'll already have kind of a good idea. We'll do a snapshot of the crime mapping around the area. So we usually come in a little bit informed about what their problems might be. But after having that just initial little sit down, we'll go and we'll tour the property. Usually takes about an hour, depending on the size of it. Just yesterday, actually, we delivered a report to the biggest one we've done yet. One of our campuses on town, which was just a massive, massive project. We probably spent about 5-6 hours doing our on-site evaluation. And then we'll come back actually after dark, and we'll skulk about.
Do you wear robber costumes and hats? No, I'm just kidding.
Kind of red team.
Dressed in
we've thought
full
about
black.
It.
Just to really get into character.
No,
I'm just kidding.
We usually give a heads up, right? That, hey, we're going to come out on this evening. So, if you've got security personnel watching, let them know
that you guys aren't suspicious individuals.
Yeah, so they don't send the police to come find us. But one of the things that we will find from time to time, and we really appreciate, is if we are noticed and a neighbor comes up to us, and we've had that happen in a couple areas of town, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, well, we're here for a security assessment for, whoever the owner is. Okay, all right, we'll just check in. And we're like, well, thank you for doing that, because that's actually one of the things that we want to help promote. How do we get more eyes on the street? How do we involve the neighbors in sort of self-policing the neighborhood? So we always see that as a benefit. But back to the report, kind of after we do that, it usually takes about an hour. We've got an actual proper light meter that comes out and measures the foot candles. And so we have a standard that we utilize based on the Illumination Engineering Society's recommendations, that we kind of map out what the illumination of the property looks like at night, so people can see with actual numbers what their lighting meter read comes out as. Because a lot of people, we just installed a couple more fixtures and our lighting is really good. But then we get out there and we're like, oh man, this actually isn't that great. And so then having those numbers is super helpful to say like, hey, it might be worth having an actual, lighting engineering company come out here and figure something out for you to help reduce that theft at night. Anyway, we get done with that, put together the report, and then we come back and deliver about an hour-long briefing to kind of run through everything that we found, and we deliver a hard copy report as well with all the recommendations that kind of serve as like just a little checklist of things. So as a business can make the improvements, because everybody's got yearly budgets and they can't just go and add a whole bunch of lighting fixtures and alarm systems and access control and fencing and stuff like that in year one. We want something that they can refer back to, as they continue to make those safety and security improvements to their property.
Like phase it out.
Yeah, absolutely. We try to throw in some real easy low-hanging fruit. Replace this light bulb, trim this bush down, whatever, that kind of stuff. But we'll go all the way up into like saw a hole in this side of the building and put in some windows, that kind of thing. So we'll go clean through the whole gamut of recommendations.
You've talked about what the assessment kind of looks like and how long it takes you guys to run through it, but what does the cost?
For chamber members and like downtown businesses, we don't charge a dime.
Yeah, wow, what a great value add to their memberships.
Yeah. Well, it's really significant. Like we'd said, we were down at the National Association Conference earlier this year, and a lot of other localities that have requirements for CPTED assessments, whether it's in their liability laws or if they've got like a crime-free multifamily housing program where businesses actually have to have CPTED assessments done. They have an industry built around it. So actual, private sector folks that do this, and they're probably charging no less than $200 an hour for this kind of service.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and you guys are certified because you're going back to like get updated on trainings and things like that for this program, which is really a value add to your members, to the whole community.
Yep. Actually, that was the reason why we decided to attend the national conference. Otherwise, we could have just taken a shorter training just to recertify ourselves. It's been long enough since we've both been through the basic and advanced training.
So what are some common things like that businesses that you see that like every business probably has when you do an assessment?
Oh yeah. Gas stations, for instance, their windows are always covered up with posters. You can't see out, nobody can see in, that kind of thing. We'll recommend that you don't cover more than 30% of your windows. And we give you a nice little number, and we'll say put your logo banner across the top and across the bottom and leave the middle open, right? That kind of thing. Seems like when you put a light pole in your parking lot, you also plant a tree right underneath it so it grows right up around that light pole and makes it not do anything at all.
They sell them together, don't they?
I think they must, because there's always a tree under every single light pole. Lots of stuff like that. We always, just about every report we say you need to put just a peephole in your back door into your alley, because you can't see what's going on back there when you're taking the trash out. I don't know what else we got, Dan. No,
just to expand on that one, a lot of times we'll doing that initial kind of 15-minute sit down before our evaluation. Our employees, when they exit back out into the employee parking lot at night, they don't feel safe. Well, then we'll go and look, and it's just that commercial crash bar door and there's no way that people can see outside and gain any situational awareness. And, it's as easy as a $20 peephole fix.
And
right?
you're walking into who knows what you could walk into.
Yeah, sort of say your last prayers and head on out there.
Take a breath and hope
Every
for the
day.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's like.
But yeah, landscaping is another big one too. When bushes get overgrown and tree canopies come down low, you lose a lot of that natural surveillance and situational awareness. And that's just such an easy one to do.
Yeah.
Really low cost and really provides a much better feeling of safety on a property.
So let's say, you guys did this big assessment that you just talked about on one of the campuses, or like ones that you've done recently, and you talk about low hanging fruit, but what are those phases? Because there probably are going to be costs with that. Like, how do you talk to a company when you're talking through this assessment? Like, what are some more of those details that you talk with them about?
Yeah, we usually try to go, if you've got to phase this in, probably the most important is lighting. At the very least, make sure that all the fixtures work. Replace out all the burned bulbs. If there's issues with the actual electricity to that fixture, get that fixed. And then,
so quickly on the lighting, when you guys are talking about that, I think of different, like even my neighborhood that I live in, I'm like, it's like a cute light, like a cute light fixture and like cute yellowish like light. And I feel like I'm in a Harry Potter movie, but it's not. Like, what kind of lights are you is that the kind of light, or are you talking about brighter light?
No, I'm so glad you brought that up because one of the things that we say is that with the CPTED, it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. There's a lot of balance that needs to be taken into account here. When it comes to lighting, yes, I think you're probably talking about like a decorative acorn fixture.
Like they're cute.
Yeah, it looks so nice during the day.
Like a movie.
It's got a very
Dumbledore's coming out with his illuminator.
A warm aesthetic.
off.
It really provides a motif for the area that is just inviting. But the fact of the matter is, those lights are terrible for illuminating human activity and terrible for safety. So we always recommend just a really basic, typical Cobra head fixture that has a full cutoff on it, so you're not providing a whole lot of glare. All that light is getting put straight down to the ground where it's usable. And even in those situations, because all that light is usable, it's not producing glare. Sometimes we find that even a light that doesn't quite meet the recommended foot candle power that we like to see, if it's dim but uniform, it provides a really nice perception of safety. Whereas if you've got like really bright light producing a lot of glare, and these fixtures are a long ways off, your eyes cannot adjust as you're walking through. So it really sort of prohibits your natural surveillance. Even if you're walking your dog down the sidewalk at night, right? It's not conducive to a feeling of safety and being able to have situational awareness in your surroundings.
Yeah. Next time you drive up Lewis when it's very dark, as you are cruising along, notice that those really pretty acorn decorative lights, if you look at them directly, you wouldn't be able to tell if there's somebody standing right behind one because that glare is just right in your eyes. And your eyes are used to that bright light. And so there's a dark spot right behind it, kind of under it too, that you can't see anything that's going on in there. So if a cat was going to dart across the street or something like that, you wouldn't even notice.
You wouldn't see it.
No, but
it's too late.
I agree. I think they look great.
Little dead squirrels and stuff.
There's usually a couple of those on Lewis,
Or a cat. It makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so lighting's one. What are like other things you guys walk through businesses with?
Just do the 4. We've got natural surveillance, natural access control, territorial reinforcement, and maintenance.
What do those mean? Yeah, tell us what those mean.
I'll do natural surveillance. Some people call it community surveillance, but it's basically the ability to see what's going on around you, either outside your building when you're in it or inside your building when you're outside of it, or what's going on in the lot next door or in the playground or behind the building or, things like that. So like how your workstations are positioned in your office. Can you see out the window? Can you see into the employee parking area from where you're working, or is your back right to it? Say in a residential setting, are there a lot of front porches in this neighborhood where people hang out and watch what's going on? Or is everything in the backyard? That kind of thing. And then like, is this park well used? Are there a lot of people hanging out in there who are seeing what's going on? Or is it unfriendly and nobody's comfortable hanging out in there, et cetera? So.
Yeah, I like, especially thinking about the natural surveillance, sort of the curmudgeon-y, old retired guy on the front porch in the neighborhood that just mean mugs everybody that walks by, right? So you're out walking your dog, or apparently cats in this neighborhood we were just chatting about. And
People walk their cats.
And he's just glaring at you. You're sort of feeling, man, what's old man, what's his name looking at, what's his deal? But on the other hand, like, hey, if there's somebody in the neighborhood casing the joint, he's going to see him. He's going to report it. So
yeah,
he knows all. He sees all.
Yeah, he's memorizing cars and license plate numbers, and
he's probably like typing them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Phone.
He's just big brother and everybody.
Yeah, he's on next door, just posting pictures.
Person in neighborhood coming for yours.
This
next.
guy dressed in brown in a big brown truck dropped off a suspicious package.
Yeah,
but we like that, right? Because that's kind of like a
good.
safety. Like your neighbor knows what's going on. So it kind of sounds like even for designers, developers, builders, like this is a really important tool to think about too as they're building new developments.
Yeah, so actually when both of us went through the advanced course together, but in our basic courses, we had a number of architects, engineers who were going through the training too, because they want to take that and build it into the buildings that they create. We've got a few folks from our architect engineering community who have been through the CPTED training. And frankly, a lot of this stuff has already been put into whatever they go through in school, because we talk about a lot of the same principles, one of which is territorial reinforcement. We can talk about using height and elevation changes, and our architects do that all the time. Well, yes, you can build that in, and it sort of has a cognitive effect on people. So there's a lot of overlap already that's going on, and so it's just cool to have our architect engineers building CPTED in, maybe even without knowing it.
Yeah. And, well, territorial reinforcement is another one of the 4 principles.
Okay.
And as Dan just said, that can be as simple as you've got a really nicely branded sign outside your building, and then your parking signs have the same branding on them, right? So that means this is all part of the same building. People are taking care of it and keeping an eye on it, so I need to behave accordingly. Or my desired crime to commit is not very welcome here, and I'm probably going to get caught.
I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go to some rundown place that nobody cares about to do my crime.
Well, as a perfect example of that, a no dumpster diving sign. We had one of the businesses that we did the CPTED evaluation for had put just that above one of their dumpsters. Hey, no dumpster diving. This is monitored 24/7 by a camera. And we heard from them afterwards, like, yeah, that's pretty much eliminated our problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So
just
they've
one sign and like a
moved
camera.
on to another dumpster. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that would matter, but in this instance, it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. What are so elaborate on those last 2 a little bit too that you talked about.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I can't remember all 4. I'm
Gotcha.
like,
yeah, no
the
problem.
other 2.
So natural access control, that's just like, well, we always use Shields as the best example because everybody knows what it looks like. You pull up and park in that parking lot. There is no doubt in your mind how you get in there. It's in that huge glass entryway, and in the world we live in, it's called a celebrated entrance. Because you got to have a special word for everything. And or an acronym. Those are always nice too. But
we love acronyms.
Oh, absolutely. There should
We're
be more.
acronym city.
There should be more.
We are. So natural access control is like directing your users how to move around the space and keeping maybe people who are up to no good out of the space, that kind of thing. So if you see somebody park in the parking lot and start wandering around into the side parking lot of Shields, kind of looking around, you know that they're not there to go to Shields. They're there for something else, maybe to check door handles, maybe to steal stuff out of cars, that kind of thing.
Do you find calling them out on it makes a difference? So, like, if I was at Shields and I saw somebody, like, pulling on door handles, would I just be like, hey, what are you doing? And that would make a difference?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole idea. You want to make it so that anybody who's parked at Shields and sees somebody off doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing is comfortable doing something like that. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily intervening. You don't want to put yourself in danger, but
makes them feel awkward and uncomfortable.
And that'll also make the person who's checking door handles feel like pretty observed and uncomfortable doing it there.
Okay, better go find a different parking lot to do my business.
Parking lot.
And when you talk to our police about this, they use the terminology witness potential. right? So, criminals that care if they get caught, and there are some that in our community that don't. We've got some other problems we need to address, but those that do care and don't want to get caught, they know how they are perceived in an environment and don't want to put themselves in a situation where, you are watching them walk around the side of a building outside of the normal entrance, because you're going to see, hey, he's the guy in the green hat with the blue plaid shirt and the wonderful beard. Right? and you're going to report that to the cops.
Beautiful description. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and also, you just see somebody hopping a fence.
Yeah.
That's what fences are really good for. Not just keeping people out, but making it obvious that somebody's trying to get in, rather than just strolling through the gap,
Or like the main entrance, like not everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Why aren't you using the standard way in instead of, exactly.
And we talk about a couple of different ways to use natural access control with real and symbolic barriers. Real barrier would be like a 6-foot fence that like really is difficult to climb. Whereas you can also have a symbolic barrier, which is, let's say it's the 1-foot, 2-foot fence. It's really meant as kind of an aesthetic to the landscaping, but it does have the chain link there, and it's definitely a fence, right? A normal person that is a law-abiding citizen, such as myself, would feel really awkward crossing that fence because I know I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
What it does is it makes everybody else that does cross over that fence really stand out, and then that witness potential goes through the roof.
Standard velvet rope.
Okay.
Wouldn't actually hold anybody back, but everybody knows.
Getting in even to the movies. Like you just follow, everyone gets in line.
The little seatbelt maze you have to go through at the airport. You can just walk straight through that if you wanted to, but
no one does.
Exactly.
Usually.
Yeah. We take the 20 seconds to walk the whole S line, and there's nobody
and you
in
go to TSA
right?
pre-check, right?
Yeah. You guys.
Yeah.
You guys are cool.
I just think that I've done that before. Just walked the whole line and
just alone.
And you feel silly, but you're
with your little like carry-on roller, you're like, dude.
But you're definitely not going to go under those ropes.
I'm going to get shot if I start ducking ropes.
Yep. Okay, what's the fourth one?
Maintenance. And that one's pretty simple. Trim your trees, trim your bushes. Don't let stuff grow over your windows. Don't let stuff grow over your lights. Replace
no
your
trees
light
by the
bulbs.
lights.
Don't plant trees under your lights.
It's got to be bad for the root system anyways. But.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's bad for everything. Maintenance basically just keeps all the other principles working, right? So you can implement all these nice changes and put in new lights and trim everything and blah, blah, blah. And then if you just forget about it and it all just goes away and now it doesn't work anymore, right? So lighting is normally a part of maintenance.
Yeah, like change the light bulb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we break it out because it's really important. And in Billings, we got long winter nights, and it's not the most dangerous town in the world. So lighting is usually something that people can really make a big difference in.
So what are some of the changes, since you guys have been doing this since 2019, 2020, like some changes you've seen now that you've been implementing and doing this programming to our community?
Two really good examples are the Yellowstone Art Museum. Over at their visible vault, they were having issues with employees coming in the morning, and there would be transients sleeping in the sculptures or behind the building, or, they would find evidence of really unwanted, let's just call it naughty behavior around their building. And staff felt...
Another technical term.
Naughty behavior.
staff felt scared, coming in the morning. Well, we did a CPTED evaluation for them, came in the middle of the night to do the lighting assessment. And sure enough, they've got about 12, 13 fixtures on the building. Not a one was working.
Wow.
And so, it was not a big surprise that there were issues with people using the space in a way that they didn't want to. So we made a number of recommendations there. And if you drive by it today, you'll see the great lighting that they have. And we actually asked them recently, hey, it's been years since this upgrade was implemented. I don't suspect it's completely eliminated everything. How often? And, they say every now and then, but certainly not on a regular basis anymore do they have issues with that. So made a significant change
nearly
there.
daily before.
Right.
And what an impact to that team that was going in every single day. Like they probably dreaded getting, like, not going to work, but kind of like to get through the door and what am I dealing with today?
What am I going to have to pick up? And
If I have
Or
to call,
not
like,
pick
who do
up.
I have to call to come and help with some of these things? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And they had, before these changes were made, just before these changes were made, when all the lights were burned out, they were getting like, I don't know, 200 some police calls a year.
That's a ton.
Which is a lot.
That's a lot.
And it just dropped down into like single digits, basically, after that.
Wow. What was the second one?
I think we'll probably highlight the depot. So on that far west side of the parking lot, there's a little corner there that is kind of the property line between Carter's and the railroad.
Yep.
And there's some wonderful trees over there. Just look really nice. But like we were just talking about earlier, those trees were blocking off the light from the light fixtures there from getting in there. So it was a nice dark little area for people to engage in unwanted activity. We found a bunch of other naughty evidence along with a lot of hair. They must have been running a stand-up ad hoc barbershop over there.
Wow, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah.
What a hairy situation to be in.
But
if I remembered which one it was.
The green, no, wait, yeah. The green one?
Oh. Nope.
No.
There you go.
there you go.
Blue.
Perfect. Leave that in.
Yeah.
So they wanted to keep the trees because they look nice, but they're blocking off the light. So how do we prohibit this activity? The two of us brainiacs put our heads together and thought, well, if we just recommend they put in some big river rock into this corner, it really just blocks that off, makes it an uncomfortable spot to engage in those unwanted behaviors. And you get to keep the trees. It just makes it feel safer for those who then come in and park in that parking lot and use our other businesses on Montana Avenue. So it was a huge change, made a big world of difference. Granted, River Rock of that scale is not cheap, but I think the value of it more than offset the costs.
And people coming downtown and feeling safe. And then they've implemented just security, which I think has been another thing probably out of that, where it's like, there's someone that you see in that parking lot just monitoring Montana Avenue, which is really helpful too.
So you're talking about a lot of things that business owners can or organizations can implement. Are there resources to help businesses update those?
Yeah, there are a few resources. If you're within the tax increment finance district downtown. And
also referred to as the TIF.
Yeah.
Acronym.
Sorry, TIF. Let's do it. If you make some of the changes that we recommend in our report, once we've gone and delivered it to you, we will match some funds up to $3,000 that you spend on making these reports that we recommended. And of course, we haven't even mentioned this. These reports that we give to folks are confidential. We don't put them out. They're not for public consumption. We're not going to show off your glaring security deficiencies to the world. So we'll hand you this report. You'll look through it and think, you're right, I should put lights up here. That'll cost me about $3,000. I will get a hold of the DBA, and we will write you a reimbursement check for half of that. So it's a one-to-one match. And then that will kind of take a little bit of the sting out of making these improvements because, these improvements are going to benefit all the businesses around you and everybody who's down here, not just you. So,
yeah.
And if can I make a shameless plug for Big Sky?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we also list in there the Space to Place grant.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to do more than, but we often recommend public art in each one of these because that's a great way to promote natural surveillance, bring people to an area that want to engage in good behavior. And while it might seem paradoxical, putting up public art actually reduces the amount of graffiti on the walls, right? There's this kind of assumption with graffiti taggers that they are artists and they don't want to disrupt others' art. So put public art up on your wall and you stand a far less chance of getting tagged.
So an example of that, if I'm not mistaken, was the pub station, right? Because we did the murals with DBA. We did those, which were so much fun. Well, the greetings from, and then like you guys did the other ones. Yeah. But isn't that one, like we put the art and then they put in lights, and now that's like one of the most probably, I'm just saying this, I have no factual information, but it's like you see those murals everywhere.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
on social media, headshot, like you just see them all the time.
And you've seen our light bike program
that
we have up. We did a couple of those with the Space to Place grant, and then we got another grant for the rest of them. But those have turned formerly dark alleys into fun, kind of colorful spots that feel warm and more safe. And we see like, man, it was prom night There was a line of people waiting to get their pictures taken in the alley on, let's see, 29th between 2nd and 3rd. We put like a canopy of lights in there, a light bike, a bunch of murals.
Oh, is that the one with the dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we've got like 4 different artists' murals in there. I put up 904 light bulbs.
Wow. Yeah.
Kind of bistro light kind of things. And then the light bike and everything. And now, like, you can't go on Craigslist and look for cars to buy that, well, you won't see a picture of a car parked in that alley in their ad. And senior pictures all the time.
Headshots. I feel like just company ads. Like people are like using all of them, which is really fun to see. I think like knowing like everyone's like your impact, like Big Skies to an extent with some of the space to place. But it's like, wow, look at those cool little changes really when you think about it that are making huge impacts in people's lives.
Absolutely.
And they're like destinations.
Yeah.
The car thing is fascinating. I had no idea.
It's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I can show you one right now. I just saw one this morning. But
that's so funny.
And also that alley used to get tagged a lot because it's just big blank white wall, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Perfect.
It's like a canvas.
Yeah. Dark. It was on a formerly one-way street, and traffic was going the other way, so they wouldn't even see you against that wall and everything. And we haven't had a tag in there since.
That's really cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
Great. So with that, is there anything else about the CPTED program that maybe we haven't talked about with you that you're like, we got to mention this?
Other than we do these for free. So
for free. Wow, that's huge. For free.
I mean, we've got enough in the queue to get us through the rest of this fiscal year here, but you know, would love to put more businesses on the roster. The other thing that we would love to do is come and give a CPTED 101 presentation to staff and organization, exchange club type thing. We've got about a 45. We could tailor it to whatever time frame is available. We can do 15 minutes to 45 minutes, but we really want to help people see CPTED in their spaces. And like we often say, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so we want to equip folks to be sort of better security folks in their own environment, right? So that they can say, hey, you know, I can't see through my window here and see out into the staff parking lot. Maybe we should change that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if people want to do that, how do they get, like, pimp yourselves out? How do they get
or can they connect with you?
My Instagram handle?
What's your handle? How do they connect with you? But, like, really, how do groups, if they're listening, how do they connect with you guys to get, like, a presentation scheduled or maybe get on your calendars to come and do a evaluation at their facility?
Email one or both of us. I'm Daniel, Daniel, at billingschamber.com.
And I'm Joe S. at downtownbillings.com.
Wow.
Very easy.
Easy to remember.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's easy to remember.
It's not an acronym.
It never fits on the line when you have to write your email address down. That's how it bends down the margin of the page. But whatever.
I know. It's a lot. Well, thank you guys. This has been so much fun having you on here, learning about CPTED, what you guys do. Thanks for all you do for the community. It's a really cool program.
Thanks
you guys.
for having us on.
My pleasure. Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Make sure you are subscribed to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, wherever you podcast, including YouTube.
Connect with us on Facebook at The Vault at 201 North Broadway and Instagram at The Vault_201.
Don't forget to visit us at thevault@201.com and subscribe to our newsletter.
We will see you next time.
Bye. Thank you to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The Small Business Development Center offers free personalized support from business plans to financial projections and beyond, empowering small businesses to thrive. Reach out to us at bigsky economicdevelopment.org.